Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today, we're going to be discussing Severus Snape, spell creation, and his famous dark curse, Sectumsempra. Under the moniker the Half-Blood Prince, Severus Snape scribbled all sorts of spells and curses into his advanced potion-making textbook. But perhaps none were more dangerous or powerful than Sectumsempra, a spell that we got to see on display in totality during Harry and Draco's 1997 duel in the 6th floor boys' bathroom. And when Harry first takes Slughorn's potions class, he's fortunate enough to find the very same textbook that a young, troubled Snape once jotted pure gold into. This book is the property of the Half-Blood Prince. Harry uses the book for quite a while, as for each and every one of Slughorn's lessons, the book provided easier and clearer instructions that he could follow. The book was like having cheat codes to all of the potions lessons, but inside the book was not just advice on how to make potions or perfect existing spells. There were also spells written inside that were totally new to Harry, spells like Sectumsempra. These were spells that he had never seen or heard of before, and that's because they were invented by Snape himself. Snape invented many spells, Levicorpus, Libericorpus, the Muffliato Charm, Langlock, etc. But Sectumsempra was, perhaps, the most meaningful. Here's why. In effect, Sectumsempra is a dark curse that acts like an invisible sword, causing lacerations, hemorrhaging, and cuts upon its target. Often after being struck, the target will lay there motionless as they lose blood. As is obvious by its description, Sectumsempra is a particularly vicious dark curse, and I often wondered what could have prompted Snape to create such potent dark magic. Yes, Snape was bullied by the Marauders, and they made his life miserable, but Sectumsempra seems a step above all of that. In the books, there is one passage that references blood drawn from a spell produced by Snape, on James Potter no less, but it seems a lot more like Diffindo than Sectumsempra. But too late, Snape had directed his wand straight at James. There was a flash of light and a gash appeared on the side of James's face, spattering his robes with blood. In fact, besides some hearsay, there is no canonical evidence that Snape ever used Sectumsempra on someone, and I think that it's because it was more meaningful than all of that. I believe that the powerful dark spell was created as a physical manifestation of his inner turmoil. He never intended to use it, he just needed a powerful form of outward expression. He just needed an outlet, and Snape turned to what he knew best, creating spells. We know that many Harry Potter spells are derived from Latin, and often these Latin words are directly correlated with the spell's purpose or intention. If we look at a spell's name, often we should be able to dissect what it does, and if we look at a name like Sectumsempra, we can see that it stems from the combination of two Latin words, sectus, which means having been cut, and semper, which means always. We can see very clearly here that the incantation has a clear relationship to the function of the spell. Though the incantation derives from the Latin root words somewhat, i.e. sectum versus sectus, and semper versus sempra, we can see a clear connection here. Here's my hot take, and why I think that the existence of Sectumsempra is so tragic. It was dedicated to Lily. Snape never really knew how to outwardly show love, which is why, in a twisted sort of way, this type of expression seems very true to his nature. After calling Lily a mudblood, Snape's relationship with Lily deteriorated significantly. While before Snape felt as though he would have to compete with James for Lily's attention, now it was clear who she was going to grow closer with. Because of his actions, Snape would lose the greatest companion he ever knew. This was a mistake that Snape regretted for the rest of his life, a mistake that hurt him forever. In other words, it was a mistake that cut him deeply, always. This, from a different perspective, would also tie in nicely as a reference to Snape's most famous line from the book. Upon Dumbledore's realization that Snape still loved Lily after all this time, Snape responds in the only way he knows how. Always. And that's it for this video. What do you think of my theory? Do you think there is some truth to this, or am I reaching with this one? Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.